Hey there, I am Marina Orms, and I am doing this series called Astrology for Nurses and Holistic Healers, looking at how astrology can help us in our practices to support folks that we might work with in their own healing process and support them to be empowered, to make lifestyle changes, to take care of themselves in the best ways that are supportive of their own healing process, that can be supportive to whatever it is they're going through. So we've been looking at the astrological signs and how each sign of the zodiac reveals sort of a spectrum of lower vibration to higher vibration, and that shows what our souls are learning related to the energy of that sign. And when our souls are on that path of learning what it is we have to learn, it is totally empowering, and it serves our best, highest good, and helps us to step into all that we are capable of. And so, of course, as nurses, as holistic healers, we want our patients to be empowered. We want them to be partners in their own healing process, and to feel good about making changes that are going to be in for their own wellness and highest good. So let's look today at some of the zodiac signs. Last time we got to the fire signs, and so we talked about Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And let me pull up this handout. Here we go. So we are now, these are the zodiac signs. So any planets can be in, each planet is in any of these signs at any given time. And so for a person, we know that each person has a sun sign. We know from my previous video that they also have a moon sign. Each of us as human beings have a sun and moon sign, as well as many other signs. But in this case, looking at the sun as being our sort of center of self, of identity, of how we move in the world, how we show up in the world, what we're learning, how to be here and be whole and well, and in the highest possibilities for that sign. And then with our moon signs, of course, what we're feeling and experiencing internally, what are our needs, what is going to give us safety, to help us do the inner work that we need to do to learn more about ourselves, to heal, to feel safe, and to feel comforted and cared for. So as we look at these zodiac signs, we can be looking at them from the perspective of either the sun or the moon. And when you've got a patient or a client or someone you want to support, you can find out their sun sign just by finding their birth date. And you can find it easily online. You might want to Google sun sign calculator if they're on a cusp and you're not sure, you and put in the information and find out the sun sign. You can also use the online moon sign calculator to narrow it down. If you don't know the exact time, with the moon sign changing so quickly, you can, at least with the moon sign calculator, you can narrow it down to two possibilities, because the moon is either one or two choices on any given day. Can't be more than two. So you know that you can narrow it down at least, and get a sense of what a person's moon sign might be. So sun sign calculator, moon sign calculator, just Google those terms and find something you like to find out a person's sun sign or moon sign. So if we're talking about their sun sign, we're talking about more external expressions of who they are, more of the external, how they need to move and engage with the world around them, how they might relate to others, and what it is they need to do, and how what's going to support them in how they express themselves. So we talked about the fire signs last time. Let's jump in here with earth signs. Taurus is one of the earth signs. We've got Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And with a Taurus sun sign or zodiac sign, we're looking at lower possibilities. So when someone is under stress, experiencing a challenge or a difficulty, or simply hasn't been able to, well, anytime they're under stress or having something that makes them go more into an automatic default mode where they're not consciously choosing to be otherwise. And so with Taurus, we're looking at the potential here for getting stuck, right? Stuck in a rut, stuck in a habit, in a routine, themes of, being comfortable with the way things are and not wanting to change, resistance to change. And so also unquestioned acceptance of the status quo, allowing things to be the way they are. And then, of course, themes that have to do with resources. So excess resources, not enough resources. Those are things that a Taurus person is learning how to work with and manage appropriately and find the right balance. Resources can be money, they can be things that we have, they can be objects, physical objects, other kinds of even human attention or love, right, can be a resource sometimes. So balancing the way that we give and receive, and that can be important for a Taurus person. Physical imbalances can show up in the body. The things that show up in the body might be a lesson, inviting the person to bring more balance into their life, to embrace the possibility of doing things differently, right? The possibility of change. And so health challenges can sometimes be that catalyst that's there, asking them to think more consciously about how they work with the physical world. And so another thing with Taurus can be values, and it's being ruled by Venus. It has to do with values and physical things we can experience through the senses. So the physical world and things that are tangible, things that make sense, things we can easily describe and understand. So for a Taurus person, the higher possibilities, what's going to support them for their own greatest good, to do their healing work, it's going to be the ability to experience things tangibly. So they need things to be modeled. If they're going to need to make a change, they need to see how to do it. It needs to make sense to them. And the ability to get things hands-on, and again, to see, to hear, to smell, to have that experience of what it looks like and feels like in the real world. And so the ways of engaging, getting engaged with the world, hands-on, ability to manipulate things, make changes, manifest results, those are going to be really important. So reflecting back, hey, look at all this progress you've made, look at the successes we've created here, and isn't that great? And here, if we just keep doing this, right, there's that wanting to have a routine, a rhythm. Here's what we can do, and keep doing. And it's like creating a new status quo, right? And this is the way to do things that's going to work on a ongoing basis. And there's a word that's not coming to my mind, but it's like consistency or something like that. Okay. So gratitude is another fantastic thing for Taurus, because it's that ability to appreciate the things that we take in through our senses and the things that the world has to offer, the gifts of being alive, the gifts of a healing process, remembering to have gratitude for the little things, for a Taurus, like just having flowers and the beautiful aroma of flowers or aromatherapy can be very supportive because they're processing through their senses. Now, also things like nourishment, right? Nutrition, supporting the physical body, things that are physically supportive, comforting, like massage and other body techniques, modalities that have to do with working with the body. So also seeing the value in oneself, seeing the value in the healing process, and the ability to, again, nurturing, taking care of the body on a physical level. So touch can be really important. Anything that awakens and engages the senses and allows a person to see how and why they belong in the world, and why it's important for them to do their own, to get well, why it's important for them to get well, and what it is they can contribute, and how they can make things and leave the world a better place through their ability to engage. Okay, so that's good for Taurus. And then let's go to Virgo. Virgo is also an earth sign here. And so earth signs in general are about the physical world. They are the ability to see and taste and touch things, make things tangible, see results, really things that are physical and that make sense and can be touched and experienced through being human, right? Being in a human body. And that shows up obviously with Taurus, as we just discussed. Virgo has many of those same qualities, but Virgo is going to be focused on improvement. So Virgo has a kind of a humility that goes with it, and that can be self-criticism. So on the lower end of the spectrum, when somebody is under stress, when they're not expressing their highest potential, they could be going into patterns of being overly critical or nitpicky. Oftentimes we see that self-criticism or the critical voice showing up, the feeling of unworthy, the seeing oneself as unhealthy or not good enough. And so the health issues that can come with that show up in the physical body. There can be a need for perfection, right? A feeling that if it's not perfect, it's not good. And so showing up in terms of imbalances, the way, in the way one eats, in the way one takes care of one's body, and how that can lead to physical imbalances, and how that can be helping a Virgo person to recognize, hey, maybe it's not always about me needing to be perfect. Maybe there's something here about how it's good enough, right? And how I can appreciate what is and appreciate the progress I've made. And so moving to the higher possibilities here for Virgo, moving from self-criticism to humility. So think about how that feels different, right? Humility invokes an idea of, of a willingness of being humble to something you have not yet learned, you do not yet know, right? That humility of like, I feel I'm an open, a blank slate, right? An open cup. I can have experiences that are going to fill me up, that are going to bring improvement to my my wholeness and my capacities in the world. And so so also for Virgo, the ability to be of service and seeing how my process can help someone else, or seeing how I can be empowered to help myself. So that sense of being helpful, that sense of being able to participate in a way that can bring improvement, can bring progress. And so seeing the potential there for improvement, the ability to restore health, discernment is an important one for Virgo. So remember that Virgo has that ability to see what's not perfect, right? It sees the imperfections. But if we think of that more as the ability to discern, you know, okay, what needs improvement? Where could I actually be doing better here? That in a neutral sense, instead of judging myself for having failed to be perfect, I can see, hey, you know, here's an area where I could learn more. Here's an area that could be better. Here's something I could work on. And isn't that exciting that I can work on that and feel empowered to make a positive difference in that? So shifting that perspective to seeing more of what's possible, how we can get there, and how that ability to see what's wrong is actually a superpower, right? It's the ability to see what needs to be healed and where we can do that healing work. Virgo people also are going to do well with hands-on things. So understanding the technical aspects, explaining the process to them, you know, using technical language, if they understand it, could be beneficial because they like that level of detail. Crafts and the ability to take pride in what one creates, you know, whether that's one's own wellness or having art projects, having crafts that they can work on could be supportive for their own healing process. The ability to make things better, make things beautiful, and through practice. So another key idea for Virgo is that concept of regular routine and practice. So just the way that someone doesn't get good at playing a musical instrument without practicing every day, it's going to be the same thing for whatever our healing goals are. Like, how are we going to put this into practice on a daily basis? Is there a meditation practice or a yoga practice or a practice of how you eat your meals, right? Maybe it's not even what you eat, but how you sit down and take a deep breath and feel that gratitude as you are about to consume your food. And so that practice of bringing in self-love, that practice of bringing in appreciation for the gifts of the physical world and bringing that into something that we do day to day could be very helpful for Virgo. Virgo is a workhorse, really. Virgo is the sign of carry water and chop wood. So it's really like willing to do that work when it sees the benefit and can feel good about the results. Okay, so that is Virgo. And then our third earth sign here is Capricorn. Capricorn is also an earth sign, so also very focused on the physical world. And we are looking at themes of structures and getting organized and having the foundations in place. And so Capricorn is really tuned in with physical limitations. So one of the ways that translates is that Capricorn understands rules and understands, okay, I have to do this in order to get this result. And I'm willing to be uncomfortable. I'm willing to put in the effort. I'm willing to have discipline. Like, that's a good Capricorn trait. But on the lower possibilities, when Capricorn is under stress, overwhelmed, feeling challenged, not in their highest functioning, they're going to be in these lower possibilities. And so the tendency to be rigid, to not be flexible or see what needs to change, the tendency to want to hold on to the challenge, right? Kind of identifying with the challenge and seeing their difficulties as being something that makes them strong. And so living according to rules and limitation rather than possibility and flexibility, that sense of self-sacrificing, no, I can suffer, right? I can be the one to take this on and have the burden and be responsible, and then that even if that's to my own detriment. So a way to shift that energy for Capricorn people is to remind them of how strong they are, to remind them of the foundations. They are good at being grounded. So, how is what you've done creating a very strong foundation for your healing process? How does that strength and that discipline and that fortitude really serve you as you go forward to discover more of what you're capable of, and kind of planting that seed that we're going to grow from here, right? That we're not going to be stuck in those limitations, but that we're going to move forward in. And for Capricorn people, having a plan is what they're good at. So involve them in the plan, get them to think about, how are we going to do this? What's that going to look like? If they can even, be able to pencil out a plan of some sort, that might be really helpful for them to help see it and feel some ownership about it. So rather than having a plan imposed on them, right, where they feel powerless, but really getting them involved in their own healing process, in making decisions about what's going to be best for them, and giving them choices, but letting them be involved in what in feeling like they're having their responsibility for their own healing process. And so some of the strengths of Capricorn are the ability to be grounded, sense of being dependable, very solid, trustworthy, they're consistent, and so carrying a sense of inner authority, and letting you as the support person, as the nurse, as the practitioner, follow their authority a little bit. Like, you are the medical authority or the authority in whatever you're offering, but when you can follow the person's guidance and wisdom a little bit, that could be beneficial to them, because that gives them a sense of empowerment, of autonomy, of being empowered in making their own healing choices. So for Capricorn folks, the ability to create structures, to organize and administrate, and leaving a legacy, all could be things that could be beneficial to them, feeling like they're building something lasting, feeling like they're making something that's going to help everything operate more effectively and efficiently. That's like the ultimate for Capricorn, is to feel like they're creating more efficiency. So supporting that view of the healing process, and being a cheerleader for the Capricorn person to be empowered and have their own strengths be engaged as they discover the path of healing. So let's see. There we go. So there you go. That is our earth signs and how we can support earth signs, sun signs. You could think of this also in terms of moon signs and what someone's inner needs are and what makes them feel comfortable, what their needs are for comfort and safety and nurturing and caring, and kind of apply it that way. But with the sun signs, it's going to be more of their overall exterior, external way of operating, of engaging, of relating to others and the world around them. So there you go. Hope that's helpful, and let me know what you think. I'd love to hear if you have any questions, comments, etc. And I thank you for being here. I will be back with, we've done now fire and earth, so we've got air and water still to go through, the air signs and the water signs. So I'll be back with that. And if you're liking these videos and you haven't subscribed yet, now is a great time to hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to learn more about astrology and the healing process, I've got 2 books that I've written called Cycles of Healing and Astrology Heals. They're available on my website at astrologyheals.com. So check that out. And thanks for being here. I'll see you next time.